We are live. Woohoo. And I'm just sending to the Twitters. And I want to send to my friends who understand of my crisis. So maybe they'll come and hang out with me because I had a crisis today. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to have a live stream today because I went through a crisis today about an hour ago. So crises are fun. So my frog is a little older. She is getting on in years. Bullfrogs in the wild live about 9 years. And the longest living one in captivity lived to 16. And so if she was a tadpole for 3 years, which would be very likely because she was this massive tadpole. I mean, like, not that big, but there are that have been that big, but they're usually stuck as a tadpole. But she was genuinely probably about this big when she was a tadpole. Her body was like this, and then her tail was pretty long and pretty thick. So she was very likely a tadpole for the full amount of 3 years. Which would put her at 12 right now, if that's the case. So she was only a tadpole with me for a few months. She became a frog very quickly. But yeah, I thought she was no longer with us today. So had a crisis, but we're doing better. She's alive. She's fine. You might hear her splashing around during the live stream because she went from I'm not moving ever again to now I can't stop moving. So we'll see. We'll see how I mean, this is not the first time I've had such a crisis. I have found her many a time in a situation in which I thought she was no longer with us. So it is not unusual, unfortunately. Who's my favorite 6th Ranger of all time? Eric. That one's really easy for me because Eric is just my favorite character in Time Force, and he's the only. Well, I guess technically Trent is my favorite character in. Trent is my favorite character in Dino Thunder, and he's also technically like the 6th Ranger, even though he was the 5th, and there is no 6th Ranger. But yeah, Eric, probably. That one's pretty easy for me. That was the first thing. They did reveal the Gold Ranger. So that means that the Gold Ranger is likely joining the cast soon, which is exciting. The name makes me feel like he's also going to be from Zato's planet, so that'll be interesting. Ivan from Dino Charge, he's pretty good. I like him. I don't dislike him, but I feel like for me, it's like Eric just has the coolest character development throughout his season. So, and I'd like to see more of the character. We have not really seen him. We have not seen him really since Forever Red. Or no, since wait, which was first? I have to look at the actual listing of the episodes. Was Forever Red first, or was the team up with Wild Force first? Must be the Forever Red must have been first because no, it wasn't. Nope. Because I remember when Cole gets to where the Rangers meet up, he remembers Wes and Eric. So that's correct. So we haven't seen Eric since Forever Red. Brain. Technically, we saw his suit in Legendary Battle, but it was clearly not Dan Southworth, and he was just there. But yeah, Eric is probably my favorite. Followed probably by Trent, because again, Trent is my favorite character in Dino Thunder. And technically the 6th Ranger. It's so hard because like I call them Special Rangers now because like sometimes they're not the 6th Ranger, and Dino Charge has like 10 Rangers all total. So 5 Special Rangers. So it's hard for me to say the 6th Ranger because they're not always the 6th. So I'm back in the talkies again. Yeah, I end of stream last week was weird. So what ended up happening was I think I lost connection, and when I got it back, this thing appeared at StreamYard appeared and said that my microphone wasn't working anymore. So I was trying to get my microphone to work again, and I just couldn't get it to work again. So I was like, well, I guess that's a good place to end the stream. I would continue what we were talking about, but I don't remember, and I didn't look back at it today. So yeah, everything seems to be working today. Seems to be. But anyway. So yeah, I wasn't sure. So if I seem a little down or like a little off, it is because I came back. I had a crisis about an hour ago. Everything's fine. Nobody's hurt. Everybody's still alive. But there was a thought that my frog was not alive. So I wasn't sure if a stream was going to happen today. She's fine. She's alive. She's active again. But there was a minute in my day today where I was very upset and freaking out. So I think all the Zords look cool, if I'm honest. I didn't write that down at all to talk about, so we can talk about that now. I think all the Zords look pretty cool. I think they're all really cool looking so far, and I like how they move and all that stuff. So yeah, I am enjoying Dino Fury. This episode wasn't so good, and we'll talk about why I didn't like it. But this is the first time I've been like, this episode could have been much better. This episode is actually quite toxic, but we'll talk about it in a minute. And it just might be my PTSD brain. I have CPTSD, and it activated some of my trauma today. So it's great. So I have this, and it could be just from the stress of thinking my frog was dead, realizing she was alive, and then watching the episode. Because I try to watch the episode pretty close to the actual stream because I don't want to forget what's going on. So I usually watch it right before I put my makeup on. So I started around 1, and then I'm able to fast forward through commercials, and then I put my makeup on, and then I come do my stream, right? And then I film my weekly video, which I'm actually really, really ahead right now. So what I'm filming today won't go up for like another month, but 2 months maybe. I don't remember when that video is supposed to go live. I don't remember. But yeah, that's how my Saturdays kind of go. But so like quite literally right before I started watching Dino Fury, I had the crisis, and then there was a very toxic situation in that made me go, oh, I don't like that. But as I keep saying, every time I kind of allude to that trauma, I'm not going to talk about that on the internet ever. So that's a trauma that I don't think I'll ever talk about on the internet. I talk about my trauma all the time on my channel, but certain things I'm never going to talk about, and that's one of them. So that was triggered today. So it's great. I can talk to, and I don't have a therapy appointment this next week. Yeah. It's great. That's all right. That's what YouTube is for, right? Making me not feel so traumatized. But yeah, the episode, I didn't like the episode. Just being honest, I didn't like it. It actually took me a second to even think about something that I liked about it. I wrote down 2 things, and they're both minor. I didn't like this one, but we'll talk about it when we get there. There's always retail therapy. You are correct. As a matter of fact, that was actually, I was looking at, because with the combination of my cat and the fact that my frog's legs are so powerful, it's really hard to keep like a dock in her tank. If you don't know, she's an American bullfrog. I got her as a tadpole, And so American bullfrogs are like the really massive frogs. And I gotta start the episode recap here, but I was like quite literally looking at a new dock to put in her tank that would hopefully hold better than the ones that I have in her tank right now. And I went to go measure her tank, and then that was when I realized that something was wrong. So yeah, I might have to buy that later now just to like make myself feel better about life. Anyway, let's start the episode recap, shall we? Okay. So this episode is called Stego Search. So clearly we're looking for Javi's Zord, which makes sense because we don't have it yet, and he's been a ranger now for a couple episodes. So we start with Salone having finished her Zord finder, and they're able to locate the Zord to an extent, but then the signal just goes away. Javi isn't there at that time. He's just kind of missing, and they ask Izzy where he might be, and Izzy says that he either found a new instrument to play or something isn't sitting well with him that he ate, and I can relate. I have the same issue sometimes. Anyway, so what ended up happening was Javi ended up getting his guitar. So he went to the park to play the guitar, and it attracts a crowd. He's kind of embarrassed by it. But then they're like, no, you're doing really, really well. So he continues to play. We have Jane and Jay Borg looking for clues. And they end up recording Javi. And then turns out that Jay Borg can sing operatically. So she begins singing operatically. Be interesting to see if that's the actual actress doing that, because that was actually pretty intense operatic singing. And then Jane decides to freestyle. So that was interesting. Javi's dad ends up coming and seeing what was going on. He takes the guitar and he gets upset that Javi spent so much money on something that is useless. But of course, Javi's dad doesn't realize that music is incredibly important. We've seen the same thing play out in Beast Morphers with Ravi's art, and his mom not paying too much attention to it till she realizes that how important it is to him. We're having the same kind of storyline here in Dino Fury, only it's going to be music versus art. So that's interesting. The others update Javi, and Javi is really seeming depressed, but he's not talking about why he's depressed. Of course, we know as the audience why he's so upset. It's because his dad took the guitar away and kind of yelled at him, kind of embarrassed him in front of a bunch of people. But the others are kind of confused as to like why he's so upset about something they don't know anything about. So then we have Boomtown. I wrote Boomer because like last week, was it last week or the week before that I was like, yep, that's what I'm calling him from now on. Boomer takes a Sporix to boost his energy. Mucus tells him that Void Knight's not going to be happy. And he goes, I don't care. I'm going to go destroy the Rangers. So he goes to attack the Rangers. Izzy had gone off to find Javi after he kind of left, being in his depressed mood. And she kind of is trying to cheer him up a little bit. And that's when Boomtown attacks. Izzy and Javi morph. They start fighting, but then they decide they need to call for backup. So they do. The others all come to help, and they're fighting this kind of more powerful Boomtown. And then Izzy ends up getting injured. So at that point, then Void Knight comes and is upset that Boomtown used a Sporix to boost up his power. And it is the perfect opportunity for Javi and Izzy to get out of there. The others still continue to fight a little bit. Then the bad guys leave, and the others go to find Javi and Izzy. Javi and Izzy are actually found by their father, who gets angry that Javi is okay, but Izzy is hurt. We're going to talk about that anyway. Then the others all come and find them and realize that this isn't good. So then Izzy and Javi get in the car with their dad and they drive off. Later at the base, Salone shows a video about the guitar incident to the first three Rangers, to our core Rangers of Zato, Ollie, and Amelia. And then they finally realize why Javi was so upset. Then Javi comes to the base and says that Izzy's going to be okay. She just needs to rest a little bit. And the others kind of say, hey, we saw that video and we're sorry, essentially. But then that was when Ollie realizes the time that video was done, which meant that it was right around the same time that they had actually found the Zord for a hot second and realized that maybe music is what will wake up his Zord. So Javi takes out his little whistle that he has and he starts playing it. And it ends up waking up the Zord. They're able to locate where the Zord is. And that is when they find out that Boomtown is attacking again. So the original 3 Rangers go to fight Boomtown, and Javi goes to find his Zord. And of course, Boomtown is big now, so they need the Megazord in order to fight. So the other Rangers all call on their Zords, and they create the Megazord to fight, but they're not doing well, as per usual when we're introducing a new Zord. So then Javi goes to where the Zord should be and plays music, and then his Zord comes to life and pops out, and he goes to help the others, and they combine for a new formation. Of course, they defeat Boomtown to an extent, but because he's a main bad guy, he's not really destroyed. He just shrinks down and goes back to their base. And then the Rangers meet Javi later at Buzz Blast and give him a new guitar. So then there is a big party at the end of that episode of Javi playing the guitar. Everybody at Buzz Blast is dancing. Jane makes it sound like he's going to be in trouble again, but then doesn't because comedy. And then J-Board decides to try and dance and ends up hitting a water main, and everybody laughs because the comedic duo is always funny, and that's the end. So what did I like about it? I like whenever we're looking for a Zord and they make it character driven. I don't know if that's directly correlated from the Sentai, because again, I try to stay away from spoilers from the Sentai as much as possible, because I don't want to be spoiled for Power Rangers if there is anything to spoil. So I don't know. So those of you who watch the Sentai obviously probably do know. But I do like whenever it's character driven. So Javi's really into music. Therefore, the fact that his Zord comes to life when he plays music, I like that. That's a good place to be as far as characterization is concerned. And then I thought, again, this episode was really well paced. I feel like all the episodes have been really well paced, though. I don't feel like episodes are rushed, and I don't feel like they're too slow. But I think that they've done a really good job. What didn't I like? The writing. The writing for this episode was really bad. I don't like toxic familial relationships, especially in kid shows. Again, I'm never going to talk about my family drama, but there are family members that I don't have good relationships with because they're incredibly toxic. And for many years, I was forced to be in those relationships because that your family, your blood, and that's just the way it is. And so anytime I see toxic family relationships in kid shows, I feel like it is forcing that narrative, and it's bad. So what I'm specifically talking about is not even just the fact that Javi's dad doesn't want him to be playing music. Like, that's toxic in itself, but the scene where he has the audacity to come in and yell at Javi for getting his sister out of a dangerous situation. Their father has no idea that they're Power Rangers, clearly, right? So he says that a monster attacked and he got them out of the situation. And his dad is angry that Javi is fine and Izzy is injured. That's not okay. I know that it's fake and I know that it was written, but that's my problem, is that this is a kid show and we're going to be showing that. Granted, they're making him the villain in this episode, or partially a villain in this episode, but kids aren't going to pick up on that. I know I didn't. I thought Bulk and Skull were funny. I didn't think of them as villains when I was a kid. I thought they were funny. And so the narrative that they would push about being bullies made it almost okay for bullies in my head. So when I was bullied, that was okay because that's just the way it was. Kids are going to look at Void Knight, Boomtown, and Mucus as villains because they are the monsters, right? They're not going to look at this father as the villain. Adults can properly process that, but kids can't. So I don't like that this was in a kid's show. That scene was in a kid's show, that bothers me. Especially, again, because I do have toxic relationships in my family that I don't participate in anymore. Because, again, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of what happened, but it's not good. So I don't like that. It's not okay. And so that really bothered me, and it made it really hard for me to focus on the rest of the episode because that really bothers me. Just the existence of that was really poorly written. And I didn't like it. I thought that was really, really bad. And then just a funner version or a more fun version of what I don't like is, you guys know I don't like comedic duos. So anytime they pop in, I'm always frustrated. I'm always cranky about it. I don't like it. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that episode. That one scene really ruined the episode for me. Probably wouldn't have hated it as much, but it's been a common thing that I've noticed. There was a scene in Beast Morphers that was like this, where a parent was bullying their kid, and now this is like a main character situation where that was just kind of a throwaway. People were just looking, we, the audience, was just seeing it. This was a main character situation. And yeah, I mean, I see this here. Obviously, there's probably going to be a progression, but that doesn't change the fact that was really poorly executed, very poorly written, and shouldn't have happened. I don't like it. That made me very uncomfortable as somebody, again, who has had trauma in that place, in that kind of situation. I'm not saying which family member it was or which family members it was. But I've been in a situation where I've been in a very toxic family relationship with people. And that made it very hard for me to enjoy the episode. They could have portrayed that in a very different way, and they could have portrayed that in a better way. And I don't know, it bothered me. Anyway, let's talk about better things. What did I miss? Who's my favorite Black Ranger? I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Probably Dylan, because he's Dylan from RPM would be my favorite Black Ranger. I was like, definitely, because he's also like my favorite character in all of Power Rangers. So there's that. But yeah, so Dylan's probably my favorite Black Ranger. Yeah, I honestly thought a very similar thing. I thought that it was going to be like, I thought that was going to be the bully situation. Like, because when he first started playing, it didn't sound good to me. It sounded really weird and just not okay. And so I figured they were going to come and like put him down or something, bully him or whatever. And he was going to feel self-conscious about playing this guitar that he wanted to buy. I thought that was going to be the more the direction they were going to go, because again, the way the actors all kind of stood up and started walking over was kind of menacing. Anyway. Yeah, you're okay with acoustic guitar or strings, etc. in parks or other public places, but a keytar, no thanks. Well, I feel like a keytar, you almost have to be plugged into an amp. Like, I don't know. I don't know enough about keytars to know for sure, but that would be my thought, at least. But yeah, that's where we're at. Mick is supposed to be in the next episode. See, and that's the thing, is I knew that he was supposed to be coming in. And I thought I saw something about being this episode. So I was like, ooh, Kelson Henderson, I'm so excited. And then it wasn't. And I was kind of disappointed. So today's just been a whole lot of like just sadness. Anyway, what's funny, when I was a kid and I played with Barbie dolls, there was a set of Barbie dolls that came out as like a band, and I only bought one because I actually wanted to play guitar, and so I bought the one that had a guitar. I did actually at one point want to play a guitar. I don't think I'd want to now. They don't sound like a comfortable instrument to play, but The spontaneous dance party was, let's just say, I don't know how they managed to not crack up laughing. Yeah, there are a lot of scenes like that, just in general. But yeah, so that's where they're at. Thank you for enjoying my videos. That makes me feel good when people say things like that. And back to this. So yes, I'm guessing there is going to be a progression there. Things don't just happen to happen. A very, like I said, it's very reminiscent of the Ravi and his mother relationship of him kind of hiding his art from his mom, and then his mom finding out that he wants to be an artist and being kind of disappointed in him. Which again, I felt like that execution wasn't done very well in Beast Morphers, but I let it go because it was Judd Lynn at the time. I don't have a lot of faith in Judd Lynn, so luckily he's not the showrunner anymore. But Simon Bennett, this was kind of a moment where I wasn't a big fan of Simon Bennett and his decisions. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be progression, but the way that the low point that they start at was just very triggering for me. Tommy is your favorite from Dino Thunder? Yeah, I can't name Tommy as my favorite for anything. I'm so tired of Tommy that I'm almost like, I almost try not to like his character. Anyway, but he is probably, that is my favorite existence of Tommy, is the Dino Thunder Tommy. He's super dark and I like that. And Jason David Frank actually really upped his game as far as acting was concerned in that season. So I really liked that. I know he had a terrible time on Dino Thunder. He's talked about that before. He didn't like when Disney ran it because it didn't feel like the Saban era or the initial Saban era. Yeah, like where are the chords? So like the actor was just banging away on the guitar in complete silence. Yeah, well, I mean that's how it is when you film television shows or movies and you see people playing instruments. They're actually not playing anything. Rarely are they actually picking up on-site sound. Because a lot of times, especially with like dances, the actors are just kind of bopping to a song. Usually the song, but it's usually played on like a speaker, which isn't going to sound good through the boom or through the shotgun mic. So they add that usually in post anyway. So that's actually pretty common to add music in post. But yeah, so he was just jamming to literally nothing, I'm sure. Yeah, see that's my thing, is I don't mind a parent being hard on their kid. Like in general and in television, I don't mind a parent being hard on their kid. But when it goes to a point where I feel like it's almost emotional abuse, which this almost felt like emotional abuse, was emotional abuse, that's where I draw a line, honestly. Emotional abuse, showcasing that, unless that's the point. But again, that wouldn't be in a kid's show. That would be in a show like Shameless, which I love, which is ending this week, ending tomorrow. Not okay. In shows like that where it's meant for adults, and that the kind of idea, like the setup for the show would be a place where that's okay. Then that's different. But this is a kid's show, and I don't like spreading narratives that it's okay for parents to bully their children. I just don't like sending that narrative to children, because that's the narrative that I was brought up with, and I now have CPTSD. So there you go. Who's my favorite Power Ranger parent? That's a tough question, because I really don't know. Maybe Wes's dad, which sounds really weird because he's a villain, right? But I like it, again, kind of like Eric, I really like his character development. So I would probably have to say Wes's dad is probably my favorite Power Ranger parent. Just again, because that was a situation where it was almost okay to have him be such a jerk, because that was the whole point. but they never put it towards, they always put his personality towards wanting Wes to be better. You know, it was always like he would push Wes to be better. So it was never like emotional abuse. Anyway, I didn't like this at all. Episode 5 of Power Rangers Dino Fury is my personal favorite to be. Let me see. Oh, the Special Olympics episode. Yes, I really liked that episode as well. That was a very good episode. And I feel like they really, I mean, I am not a person with disabilities, so I really can't physical disabilities. I've got plenty of mental ones. Like I have a really terrible mental health, but so I really can't say myself whether or not it was portrayed well. But in my very limited idea of of how we should be portraying people with disabilities, I feel like it was very well portrayed. There was no inspiration porn, which I know my friends that have disabilities really hate that. And yeah, I felt like that episode was really well done. My favorite is Devin's dad from Beast Morphers because he's always nice to Devin. Is he though? Like again, he's tough on Devin. He's not always nice. And we're not talking about the Evox version, obviously. Spoiler alert if you've not seen Beast Morphers, sorry. But like in the first season, yeah, he's nice to Devin, but he's also really hard on Devin, which again, I don't mind. I don't mind people being, parents being hard on their kids. Like, I don't mind that, but I wouldn't say he's always nice to Devin. I'd say he's hard on Devin for sure. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I type terribly when I type fast too. I think my boss is very concerned that I don't know how to spell things. Probably not. Ever since we've been working from home though, she and I have been communicating through IM text only, IMs through Skype only. And sometimes I'm worried she's concerned I don't know how to spell things. So it's perfectly fine. No worries. But yeah, I do have to keep today's pretty short just because I am going to be filming outside today because I'm doing a video concept that I wanted to do in a very different setting, but I don't have that opportunity to do it in the setting I want to do it in. So I'm just going to do it in my backyard and hope for the best. But I want enough light, and it's really overcast today. So the second the sun starts to go down is going to be bad. And I mean, the sun doesn't go down too early anymore, but I still want enough light to be able to do this video so I don't have to like rush it. Who's my least favorite parent in Power Rangers? I would say any of the Mighty Morphin Ranger parents because they were so just not characters. Like they just existed when the script called for it. And I wish we could have seen more of their home life. I mean, we saw Billy's house kind of because we saw his lab at his house, but that's pretty much all we really saw. We saw Torini's bedroom once. Like I wish we could have actually seen more of that. Otherwise, Trent's dad, for obvious reasons. From Dino Thunder. My least favorite is Sarah and Haley's parents in Ninja Steel. I don't remember those parents, honestly. I don't remember a lot of things about Ninja Steel. A lot of times I have to remember which one was the Pink Ranger and which one was the White Ranger. Sarah was the Pink Ranger and Haley was the White Ranger? Is that right? Is it Haley even the White Ranger? I don't even remember. I don't like Ninja Steel. So I don't remember a lot of things from Ninja Steel because I basically just kind of marathoned through it and called it a day because I didn't like it. I think Sarah was the Pink Ranger, right? I don't remember. I really don't. Like I literally, anytime I've done like the lists and I've had to write down my lists. Okay, thank you. Haley is the White Ranger, so I was correct. Anytime I've had to like write down my lists of like ranking all the Power Rangers, every single time I came across a Ninja Steel Ranger, I would just write Ninja Steel Red because I could never, I know that's Brody, but like I could never remember the name. And so those lists help me commit those names at least to memory. But yeah. So I don't remember Ninja Steel. I don't remember seasons I don't like. So I don't remember a lot from Samurai. I don't remember a lot from Ninja Steel. I don't remember a lot from Lightspeed Rescue. You can tell that whenever I do talk about Power Ranger seasons, I will talk more in depth about ones that I like because I actually remember them. That's great. I'm glad you remember all of them. Like I said, my brain chooses what to and what to not remember, which really did not do well for me in school. That's why I did not do well in school, because my brain's like, this is not necessary. Like math, high school math is so unnecessary. Why are we teaching kids calculus when we could be teaching them more important things? Anyway, so my brain goes, this is unnecessary. So I just don't remember certain things. Apparently, that's also just a symptom of PTSD. So cheers. I've learned a lot about myself since my diagnosis. And I'm like, oh, the diagnosis makes sense. I was only recently diagnosed, like maybe a year ago. But been living with it for a long time. But yeah, so I don't remember a lot from seasons I don't like. So yeah, I don't remember those parents at all. Like I don't even remember what they looked like. I would have to look it up. Hey, how are you? I enjoy reading all of your comments that you leave on my videos. As a math girl, I protest. I mean, when do I use calculus in my everyday life? I understand algebra. Like algebra, I do use. Geometry, I do use. But calculus, I do not use in my everyday life. I can get through life just fine without calculus or trigonometry. So why did I have to learn it? I don't know. My brain also, like I said, just didn't retain anything. I remember the names. I don't remember what they actually do. In Super Mega Force, Gia kind of reminds me of Ronnie from Overdrive, but the difference, Gia is remembered, but Ronnie is forgettable. Okay, so the reason that makes me laugh so hard is because that's what I say about the Operation Overdrive cast in general. They're such an unforgettable cast, such a forgettable cast. Mac is probably the only one that I feel like is memorable in a good way. So that's why that made me laugh so hard, because true story. And I agree. They're both kind of tougher, less feminine women, which I as a non-feminine woman, really appreciate. But yeah, I would have to agree that Ronnie is definitely less memorable than Gia. Gia really left her mark. She's one of the better Yellow Rangers for sure. It's more like math teaches us logic. You probably use or skills you gain from it learning more than you think. I'm sure. But like, I actually took a logic course. So in college, so my college experience was very strange. I actually just graduated 10 years late. I actually, my official graduation date was back in 2019, May of 2019, because I ended up dropping out for many, many years. And I finally went back because nobody would hire me. I was stuck in retail for so long and I had to get out. So I went into real estate for a little while. That didn't work out because I'm not that kind of salesperson. And then I tried to get like an office 9-to-5 kind of job. And nobody would hire me because, one, I didn't have a degree, and two, I job hopped in retail because that's how you make better money in retail is you job hop. You don't stay with the same company because it's more effective to get that higher position when they're hiring out because they'll pay you more than promoting you from within. So I job hopped a lot in retail because that's how you make better money. When I went back to school, there were two options for my math credit because my math credit was the one that I couldn't end up getting. One of the reasons I couldn't graduate. And so there are two options now within the Minnesota. It's called MnSCU here, but it's the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities. And it's a whole system of college and universities. And their new thing is you can either take a math class or you can take a logic class. I didn't realize logic classes were so interesting. And so I took that instead of math because it's math with words, which much prefer. But yeah, that definitely taught me better stuff. But I learned very little from math, if I'm being honest. A lot of my logic actually came from my logical thinking actually came from actual like critical thinking classes that I would take, because I had to take them because I was diagnosed with dyslexia at 16, and that was part of my therapy for it. Essentially, was taking critical thinking classes, which was I thought was really weird, but that helped. Wait, Mac was a robot. Dax was a stuntman. Will was a thief. I mean, I remember the specifics of the cast, but we're not talking about spoiler stuff. First of all, I'm not a bro. Second, school is very important. I'm not saying school is not important. School is incredibly important, but I'm just saying I'm bad at math, and I don't see the importance of teaching kids calculus when they could be taught how to balance a budget, and they could be taught how to do taxes, and they could be taught about loans, and they could be taught about things that actually are important to be taught, which my school and most schools in the state of Minnesota do not teach in high school. I've learned that other schools in other states do, but Minnesota doesn't think that real life living is important to teach high school students. So we ended up going into the real world as idiots who didn't know how to handle loans. We didn't know how to handle credit cards. We didn't know how to balance a budget. I still don't really understand how to make a budget. And I'm 34. I'm going to be 35 in a few months. So Amelia's a super capable ranger, even when she's scared. Yeah, I think she's very capable. I think she's a really good ranger. I really appreciate her as a character. She's probably my favorite right now. We'll see how that changes, or if that changes as time kind of goes on with which Dino Ranger season is it? Dino Fury. We'll see. No, see, the thing is, I mean, that's your opinion. But for me, I Mac and Tazon are my favorite characters in Operation Overdrive. But Spencer is cool. He's the butler, right? I think he's the butler. That's who I'm thinking of, at least. When I was in college, I took so much math that they counted it as my foreign language credit. That's hilarious. I didn't need to worry about a foreign language credit because my minor was in French. So je parle français, which again, not important to know. But at the time, the plan was, and I would still love to do it, was to move to Canada, to move to Vancouver, which is the other side of the country from where they speak French. But French is one of the national languages in Canada. So I was like, well, I may as well know it just in case I need to know it while living there. So I took French. And so it was actually important. But it's been many years since I had that minor. And so je parle français for no reason at all. Jaden, Kevin, Mike, Emily, Mia, Antonio, Lauren from Samurai are more remembered to me than Mystic Force. Really? I love Mystic Force. I hate Samurai. But I mean, to each their own. I mean, personality, it does. I'm not one to be like, you're wrong for having an opinion. I disagree. I think the Mystic Force is better in every way, shape, and form than Samurai. But if somebody likes Samurai more than Mystic Force, that is completely your own opinion, and that is somebody's got to like Samurai. Sorry, the math talk. I apparently feel very strongly about it. That's fine, and I know people. I have friends in real life that are very, very specific about liking math. I have family members that are really into math. I just am not. I really am not. Can I be on the screen? Oh, you mean like this? Well, you are now, if that's what you mean. But if you mean joining my stream, no. Mighty Morphin, Dino Thunder, Ninja Steel, all those Rangers went to school. A lot of other Rangers went to school too. We just didn't see it necessarily. But yeah, that one, they actually like showcase the school as part of the storyline. What do you mean? What about the rest? I need more information. So far, Ollie's my least favorite because he's the least amount of focused has the least amount of focus episodes. He only has one. I know, but we're still so early in the show. Give it time. I actually really like Ollie. I think Zato is still my least favorite at this point. But that's just an acting choice thing that I just am like, meh, not my favorite acting choice. But hey, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying he makes acting choices that I personally would not make as an actor. Not saying he's a bad actor. I think he's a good actor. He just makes choices I wouldn't make. Sorry. I mute my mic anytime I have to clear my throat. I have vocal damage. So talking a lot makes it hard, which is why live streams are tough for me sometimes, but apparently my throat's not liking it today. My vocal cords are not liking today's stream. Usually I say, bro, sorry. Do you think Mystic Force helped with the dimension and travel of Time Force? That's fine. I actually usually don't. I'm not actually offended. But I don't know. Like that's time. Mystic Force wasn't really about time travel, and so and the stuff was all from the future, so everything was like 1,000 years advanced. So I don't see a correlation between the two, honestly, because first of all, Time Force happened first in the timeline. Even though the Rangers were from 1,000 years in the future, but Mystic Force was all very organic, where Time Force was very scientific. So I don't see a correlation there, but only character I liked in Samurai was Antonio. He actually annoyed me the most. His actor, like all the actors. I'm not even going to get into that. Tori the robot. Tazon from Operation Overdrive is based. I don't know what that means. I grew up on Samurai. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is I was a full-grown adult when Samurai came out. I mean, I was almost like I was in my mid-20s. So, I mean, I was literally the kid they were looking for when Mighty Morphin came out. So, I was the actual demographic, having been born in 86. So, like, and that's the thing, like, if you're nostalgic about something, I get it. I look at Mighty Morphin as, like, a lot higher than I probably should because it's nostalgic for me because it's what made me fall in love with the franchise. So if it's what you grew up on and what made you fall in love with the franchise, nothing wrong with that. Yes, they actually all go to school. You just don't really see that as much. Well, yeah, but I think she was more university, wasn't she? I don't think she was in high school. I'd have to go back and watch Dino Thunder or Dino Charge. What again? These Dino seasons. I hate Samurai a bit for everything. Trusting idiot Jaden over Kevin, a great teacher. We're gonna leave Kevin alone. I don't like that character even a little. Do you have the ability to get streaming? Because you can always get Philo, which is not super expensive streaming service. It's a live TV streaming service, and they have Nickelodeon on there, so you can record it on a DVR, on an endless DVR if you want. It's the same as Vocal Fry. My vocal damage is very similar to vocal nodules, which means that yeah, I do get vocal fry pretty frequently. And then my throat just gets really irritated and dry. So you'll notice I'll start drinking a lot of water now. Speaking of which, I probably should. And stuff. So I don't know, man. My vocal damage happened when I was a senior in high school, so it's been a long time. So I've learned how to live with it. Yeah, see, that was the thing is Time Force happened before Mystic Force. Like, the actual fight with Rancic happened before Mystic Force. But then again, the Rangers, four of the 6 Rangers came from the future, came from the year 3000, so 1,000 years in the future at the time. But again, I don't see the correlation because Mystic Force was very organic and Time Force was very scientific. So I don't feel like that would be a good correlation. I think the stuff that Billy created and the stuff that Noah would do, the stuff that the more scientific based seasons, like last season, that kind of stuff. I think those would more be contributory towards Time Force than anything else. The characters like in Megaforce were Noah and Gia. Mine were Jake and Gia. I did not like that relationship because I feel like that relationship is, again, not a narrative I like to push of like the guy likes the girl's not interested, so the guy keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until the girl likes him. I don't like that narrative even a little. I was in a situation like that where a guy liked me and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Our friendship ended up ending, not me liking him, so I don't like that narrative. When I was 5, Samurai came out, and it was it was coolest thing growing up. Yeah, and see, that's the thing, is nostalgia is so important. I mean, as a 90s kid, like you're going to hear that from 90s kids all over the place. For some reason, 90s kids specifically are very nostalgic for the 90s. So I get that 100%. Like I said, I'm never going to crap on somebody for liking something that I really don't. To each their own, 100%. Wild Force and Jungle Fury are similar because of the animals. I mean, yeah, there are seasons that have themes. There's dino themed seasons, there's ninja themed seasons, there's animal themed seasons. Yeah. Noah should have been the Red Ranger. No, because the whole point of the Megaforce team was that they paralleled the Mighty Morphin Rangers. So you had kind of born to be a hero Red Ranger, and then you had the really feminine Pink Ranger, and you had the less feminine Yellow Ranger, and you had the goofball Black Ranger, and you had the nerdy Blue Ranger. That was the whole point, was that they were paralleling Mighty Morphin for the 20th season. Do you think I can explain Megaforce with 2 episodes while referencing MMPR through Ninja Steel? I don't know what you're asking. You can explain Megaforce in any way you want. Probably not in my stream, though, because I have to end my stream soon. So I have some filming time. That makes me even more uncomfortable with their relationship. Cute. That's fun. I mean, granted, like Maji Ranger, they were all siblings, if I'm not mistaken. And again, they have the Red Ranger falling in love, or not again, but they have the Red Ranger falling in love with the Blue Ranger, even though that's not very clear until like the end of it. The love story Mystic Force was sad. Pathetic. And Gokaiger, the counterparts swapped bodies. That I knew. Because I remember, because in Super Megaforce, they did have a body swap episode, but it was not, I don't remember how they explained it, but the actors talked about that body swap episode. But it wasn't those characters. I don't remember how they explained it. So the thing is, like, I would never flex that I'm like, I grew up with Mighty Morphin. Like, that's just a fact. I just grew up with Mighty Morphin. I was 6 when the original season came out. I was nearly 7. I was 2 weeks away from turning 7. It came out on my my second due date. I had 2 due dates, but it came out on my due date, on the due date that I surpassed, and then was born on the 12th of September instead. So like I was 7 for all intents and purposes. I was 7 when Power Rangers came out. So, but yeah, I would never flex that on you. But yeah, 90s kids were nostalgic about the 90s. Because we went through a lot. Right. No, I know what I know you're talking about Jake and Gia when it comes to this. That I knew. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I did not watch FanFest yesterday. I was at work when it was on. So, I mean, I was literally sitting right here, but I was working, and I don't have the ability to watch things when they first come out. So I did not watch that yesterday because I was busy working, making that money so that I can keep buying lightning figures. Actually, I haven't bought a lightning figure in a really long time. My mother just texted me. I need to see what she texted me about. It's so funny when you live in your parents' mother-in-law suite and your parents still randomly text you for no reason. Okay. Good to know. Love it. Power Ranger. I've seen Power Ranger. It's actually pretty good. I have it. I have all of the Sentais that have been released through Shout. I mean, again, I'm not going to make it a huge mystery in my life that I only watch things that are legally available, that are legally released. Again, I don't crap on anybody who doesn't anymore. I used to. And then I grew up. But I mean, if you ask my opinion, I'll tell you my opinion. But other than that, I don't watch anything that's not legally available in the United States. So I wait for Shout Factory to release it, which is really driving me crazy because they stopped at Hurricaneger, which is right before Abba Ranger, which I have been dying to see Abba Ranger for years. So they need to pick that back up. Every generation is nostalgic about the decades of their childhood. I agree. Well, actually, my dad isn't. What's funny is my dad is nostalgic for the 70s, but he would have been a teenager in the 70s. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I would agree, but you said elementary school age to teen. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not nostalgic about the early 2000s because the early 2000s was full of women being taught to hate their bodies because of low-rise jeans. I have not seen TokuCast. Well, again, production-wise, that wasn't the point. The point was that they kind of just needed to start using the Sentai footage because they had to use a certain amount of Sentai footage. From what I've understood I am friendly with, I'm not going to say we're friends, but I'm friendly with one of the original producers, and we've talked a lot about Power Rangers, especially in that time frame about production. They actually needed to use a certain amount of Sentai footage, and they were not using enough, so they had to write in the Alien Rangers. I really didn't care for the Alien Rangers as a whole, so I really don't care. The TokuCast hates Power Ranger so much they put it in trash on their Super Sentai tier list. See, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. There are definitely other Sentais I disliked more. Kaku Ranger, speaking of Alien Rangers, Kaku Ranger I didn't like. Which really made me sad because it started out really good. Kaku Ranger started out fantastic, and then it just got boring. And O Ranger was bad, and Car Ranger was bad. Those are the ones I don't like. You love Power Ranger? Power Ranger's good. So it's a way to reminisce about the time before you had any responsibility. I mean, yeah, but I think honestly, 90s kids, somebody said it spot on one time that we went through such a digital change in our generation that it was almost like it's more than just before you had responsibility. It's like we reminisce about a time before, hi, this is actually a real life friend of mine. Hi, Brian. Do not. And I also hate that you spell it with one T, but you fixed it. It's fine. Hi, Brian. How are you? Get out of here, Brian. So Brian likes to play up this characterization of hating me. We hate each other, but we're actually really good friends. Do you hate me, Brian? Wait, they required to use a certain amount of Sentai footage even though they didn't need it? Correct. Contracts. See, I need to watch more of the Sentai things. You're going to annoy me. Well, too bad I'm going to end my stream soon. So much. Heart. I love you, Brian. I miss you. This is going to be the second year in a row that we don't hang out at Detour time because Detour is not happening again. It's going well. Please stop spamming my comments. It's going well. How are you, Brian? I don't like it when Power Ranger character has more than one counterpart in the Super Sentai. I mean, it makes it hard to match the Sentai because the characters are so different. Like I remember a guy who played Jake in Megaforce and Super Megaforce said that his characters from the Sentais were so different, so he had to alter his character a little bit from season 1 to season 2, but that's about it. It's okay. He's an okay spammer. He's like a real life friend, and we're buddies. Lame. You're lame. Brian. Ugh. So the way Brian and I met is really funny. So I don't remember the specifics. I don't know if I was cosplaying Duo or if I was wearing a Gundam shirt, but I was co-hosting a Yu-Gi-Oh panel with some friends at Anime Detour here in the Twin Cities. I think was it at the Doubletree, or did we meet when it was still at, where was it? Was it the Doubletree? It wasn't the Doubletree the first year. It was a Sheridan at first, but the Doubletree, or was it in St. Paul, or was it at the Thunderbird? I don't remember where it was, but after the panel, he comes up to me right behind me and goes, "Gundam." And we've been friends ever since. That's how Brian and I met, just so you guys are aware. It was the Sheridan. Okay. Okay. That would make sense. Out in the suburb, the 5th largest city in our state, Bloomington, where the Mall of America lives and the airport. Power Rangers has surpassed the 100th episode many years ago. Oh, okay. 1000th episode in the next few years. I mean, I hope they do something good I hope they do something really exciting. We'll put it that way. Yep. Was that a comment about it being the 5th largest city in the state? It used to be the 4th. Duluth recently passed Bloomington, which makes me very angry. It makes me a lot angrier than it should. But yes, Brian and I bonded over Gundam, which then I realized later on that he's also a fan of Power Rangers. So Brian likes Power Rangers too. I know you should maybe answer some of these questions too, Brian. So questions I've been asked: who's your favorite 6th Ranger so far in the entire franchise? I said Eric. Eric's my favorite. I like those brooding bad boys. What can I say? And then who's your favorite Black Ranger? And who's your favorite Power Ranger parent? Was there any more? I don't remember. But answer some of those. Eric's pretty good. Yeah. Eric's pretty good. Eric's amazing. I like Eric. He's my favorite. Dominic. Yeah. Dom's pretty good. I really like that season. Zach, your favorite Black Ranger? Parent. Yeah, like Power Ranger parent. Like I said, Wes's dad is my favorite because the character development that he goes through the course of, I almost said Mystic Force. That would be Udana, who is a parent, and Lianbo. Time Force. I don't think Izzy likes Zato. I think Amelia might. If you weren't playing zombies, you'd be more active. You're being pretty active. I feel old that the fact that Mighty Morphin is 1993, even though I didn't exist then, that makes me feel old. Let's be real. That makes me feel old. Like the fact that Power Rangers are younger, like a lot of the Power Rangers that play Power Rangers are younger than the show makes me very unhappy, makes me very uncomfortable. Eric looks the most like the Time Ranger counterpart. They did use actual footage of him when Eric first becomes the Quantum Ranger. A lot of that footage is actually the Sentai counterpart. I can't remember his name. What's his name? I can never remember his name. I hated him. I did not like him when I watched Time Ranger. Did not like him. I was so excited because I love Eric and I knew that the characters were very similar. And I was so excited. And then he ended up being just a jerk. And I did not like him. Not that Eric's not a jerk, but Eric had better character development. Naoto, thank you. Thank you. I knew it started with an N. I just could not remember it. Thank you. Yes. Anyway. See, now Brian's here, so now I feel bad that I'm gonna end the stream. But I have to go do things. But yeah. So I don't know. Time Fire. Yes, the Time Fire Ranger. What's being young is a bum your age is a sign of the series success. Yeah, that's true. Like a lot of people, like Brian's close to my age. Brian's a little bit younger. I think you were born in 89 or 90, something like that. So Brian and I are prime examples of kids that watch the show from beginning to end or from beginning to now. I stopped here and there, but started watching O-Ranger and it's intense. I don't like O-Ranger. Have you seen it before? O-Ranger was one of the ones I was really excited about because I really liked Zeo as a kid. I don't like Zeo now, but I did like Zeo as a kid, but mostly because I told the future. Oh, that's right. You turned 30 last year. I mean, technically, because we called the King Ranger the Gold Ranger, but he was in the Sentai and he was black and gold. But yes, by name, that's probably true. Mime out like I did last week. Last week was because my microphone stopped working. I don't know. I like both for very different reasons. But again, like I'm just super nostalgic about Mighty Morphin, so it's really hard for me to say anything else. But what can I say? Anyway, anything else people want to say before I end this live stream? I promise myself I'll keep it around an hour because I really got to get things done today. All right, Britt, I gotta go. These zombies are tough. Okay, enjoy fighting zombies, Brian. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I miss you, and we need to hang out soon. Hopefully I'll be vaccinated soon so we can hang out. Yeah, let's hope that detour actually happens again soon. Maybe one day. I don't know if I'm still gonna be staffed for it though. We'll talk. We'll talk more in depth about that some other time. I'm not supposed to talk about that publicly. First Sentai, yeah, the first Sentai was back in the 70s. Oh, you thought Brian was calling us zombies. No, Brian's playing a game and he's killing zombies. So enjoy fighting your zombies, Brian. Sometimes what's weird, okay, I thought about this today and I thought about this last week and the week before. As time has gone on, it's been harder and harder for me to tell when it's Sentai footage. I think I've said this before. It's been harder and harder for me to tell that it's Sentai footage. But for some reason, this season, which isn't even an older season, this season, I can tell when it's Sentai footage. Like even Beast Morphers, which is a much older season than this season. Not much, much older, but like older because they went back in time to get Go Buster, right? I can rarely tell when it's Sentai footage. For some reason, this season, I can tell very easily that it's Sentai footage. It throws me off. Weird. Anyway. What? Hold on. Let's look that up. Really? When did that happen? Let me see. Does he have yeah. It doesn't say so. I'm not seeing that. Cannot remember. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm literally not seeing anything about that. Dawn of Thunder, the first 2 episodes on YouTube. I have it. Oh, maybe not. I don't have that one yet. That's why Legendary Battle sucked. Legendary Battle was the worst. Oh, yeah, spoilers. Please try to stay away from spoilers for shows. I don't like spoiling things for people. And Yellow and Black. Okay, yeah, we don't spoil things, guys. Please stop spoiling things. Anyway, let's end the stream. See you guys all next week with another one of these. Yeah, we'll see you guys all next week. Bye, everyone.